Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for being here and those watching on TV. Our first order of business this evening is the public hearing. I will turn it over. All right. To Ms.
You have Kim
Yes. she's
watching
on.
somewhere?
She is.
Okay, so this hearing is called to order at 7 p.m. on February the 8th, 2026 at the Board of Aldermen meeting room at Hermann City Hall. This hearing is conducted to consider a request to rezone properties at 108 East 2nd Street, the west part of Lot 2 of East 2nd Street as per plat of record in the original town of Hermann, from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 General Commercial. At its hearing held on January 28th, 2026, the city's Planning and Zoning Commission passed a motion to recommend that the application be approved. Proper written notice of this hearing has been provided. The applicants will have the opportunity to present their case, and if they have any documents they desire for the board to rely on, they're invited to submit those as exhibits. If the applicants have any witnesses whom they desire to speak, and this will be allowed. And if they are represented by an attorney, the attorney would be allowed to speak on their behalf. Of course, the board may ask questions, and after their presentation is complete, the board may ask for testimony from others present in the room, and the mayor reserves the right to limit each speaker's time. And then at the conclusion of all testimony and comments, the board may deliberate and then vote, and whether the application is approved or denied is carried by a vote of the majority of the board members who are present this evening. And proposed exhibits, Exhibit 1 is the application to change the zoning that was submitted. Exhibit 2, meeting minutes of the City Planning and Zoning Commission. And Exhibit 3 is a copy of a portion of the city's zoning map that has the subject property on it. Exhibit 4 is an aerial photograph of the area with various lots indicated in the subject lot highlighted in blue. Exhibit 5 is the affidavit of publication from the newspaper confirming that our notice of this hearing was, and planning and zoning hearing, were published in the newspaper. Exhibit 6 is a copy of the actual notice of hearing that was presented. Exhibit 7 is a list of the people or property owners within 185 feet of 108 East 2nd Street per our ordinances. And Exhibit 8 is looks like a summary or narrative regarding the property from the property owner. And Exhibit 9 would be the entire municipal code of ordinances of the city of Hermann, Missouri. Mayor Cox, would you agree to accept these exhibits into the record?
Yes.
Is our applicant here?
Yeah.
I will give you these. I don't know if you had this from last time. There you go.
And our court reporter can amend the transcript. It's the 9th today, not the 8th. I was off a day.
Just the right number. So, some of you know me, some of you don't. My name's Andrea Sullivan. I'm the new owner of the Klinger Mansion. And we had requested to rezone the home. The history of the home is it used to have a conditional use permit before the moratorium went in place. Unfortunately, the previous owner, she let it lapse. I think the city had kind of told her multiple times that, you know, if she didn't submit the paperwork that it would kind of go away. But she also had several family things going on at that time. I know her mom got sick, and at that time she was really ready to just kind of move on from that project. So I love the home. I think it's beautiful, and it has a lot of charm to it. So one of the things that we had talked about at the previous meeting was making sure that all of the neighbors are okay kind of with everything that we have proposed. The main thing is we wanted to ensure that we address their main concerns, which were parking, and how it would affect, all the surrounding neighbors. The main thing with the parking, so right now the home is, it's set up for a 6-bedroom, 9-bathroom home. It was a 7-bedroom, 9-bathroom, but the carriage house got converted back to a garage. Well, right now it's in the midst of getting converted back to a garage. And so what we had planned for was to make sure that we had 6 spots off-street for parking. So in the driveway itself, we have room for 5 cars, and in the garage, we have room for 1 car, 1 truck, or several motorcycles, whatever people prefer to drive. And in front of the home, we have 53 feet, and that is enough for 2 cars to park in front of the home, if that spot is available. But we do know that it is a public street, that we can't enforce, people not park in front of the home or anything like that. So one of the other concerns that we had was making sure that we had all of the neighbors kind of on support, not only for the vision of the home, but kind of addressing a lot of their concerns about what may or may not happen with the property. So we went through and we talked to as many neighbors as we could have. So, and I'm sure you guys have, do they have a copy of this?
They don't.
They don't, okay. So, as far as people who live 185 feet within all property edges, we went ahead and we talked to as many as we possibly could have. The people who live directly next to us at 104 East 2nd Street, it used to be owned by the Stemmies. It currently got bought out and it was purchased at the end of December, just like my property. And we have a verbal approval from the neighbor. However, once we had actually formed the petition, I didn't have a cell phone number to contact them. But whenever we had spoken with them, they were full support. They thought we were commercial anyway. And most of the neighbors that we spoke to actually thought we were commercial because of that previous status. Donna Nestle, she owns the Harbor House as well as the yellow home on the corner of Market and 2nd Street. She has signed the petition. Aaron Kinderlin, he is in the red home right next to the carriage house in my backyard. He is in support of the petition. We have Matthew Rogers. He is on 209 Market Street. We have their signature as well as verbal approval. Great expectations. I was able to go ahead and talk to them on the phone. That is at 215 Market Street, and we were able to go ahead and get a verbal approval from them over the phone. Todd and Nancy Satry, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. They live right behind us on 3rd Street, and we have their support as well. Brant Wilkins, he's on 3rd Street as well. We have his approval. Cheryl Scottsdale, we were able to go ahead and leave something in the mailbox, but we were not able to touch base with them. Gretchen Williams, who is my neighbor directly to the left side, if you're looking at the home we have for approval. People who live on 118 East 2nd Street, we left something in the mailbox for them. On 121 East 2nd Street, we left something in the mailbox. Gary Johnson, we have his verbal as well as the signature. He's at 124 East 2nd Street. We have Mayor Bruce, and as well as his wife. We didn't specifically ask them to sign the petition because we didn't want you to kind of be in an awkward position for that. But we did want to go ahead and give you a copy of the paperwork today. Eric Berry, who lives at 115 East 2nd Street. We have a verbal from them and him and his wife that they're okay with it. Ryan and Amy Williams, we have their verbal as well as signature. And Donna is the last one, and she owns the 2 properties, the Harbor House as well as that yellow house on the corner. And then these are all the signed petitions, if you want them.
Does anybody want to see them, or we'll just put them in the record?
Does that work? Okay.
I'd like to see a list of the people
Sure.
that supposedly signed the
Yeah.
list. Because some of those have told me differently, so.
Oh, okay. These are, I apologize. If there is a verbal next to the name, that means that we were able to get a verbal. The SIG is if we have a signed signature from them.
Normally, we're supplied with copies.
I can make copies of that for you right quick if everybody wants one.
I would like
I've seen it.
to get one after the meeting.
So I know one of the big concerns with any type of rezoning in Hermann is if it is any type of spot zoning, which I know is one thing that the city does not want, versus, in my case, I'm actually surrounded by commercial on really 2 sides, and then one kind of catty corner to the home. So the people right next to us, those are the people who purchased in December. They're turning theirs into an Airbnb. All of 3rd Street behind me is commercial. And then you have the Harbor House that is catty corner, that is commercial, and the red house that butts up to my backyard, that is commercial due to the proximity to Market Street. So what my ask is to be able to go ahead and really turn this property back into what it used to be. And, you know, at the end of the day, this is a business for me. It's something that not only do I want to restore the home, but I do want to make sure that, you know, from a financial perspective, that it's a sound investment. And so being able to have a commercial license, it allows me to have an Airbnb. My goal is never to turn it into a restaurant or a bar or anything other than lodging. So I know it's a big ask, but you know, I'm willing to be able to go ahead and put in the time, the effort, the finances, to be able to go ahead and bring this home back up to what, you know, it used to be. You know, I know there's a lot of people who have come up to me and really kind of talking about whenever the Tallmeyers had it, playing at that house, and you know, really kind of having young childhood memories there. And you know, I'm excited to bring it back to what it used to be, because right now we can tell that after years and years of neglect, you know, parts of it are starting to kind of fall off the house and squirrels have gotten in. And you know, luckily a lot of the neighbors have kind of, they support my vision for the home. So I know that's a lot of information. Any questions?
I think the biggest issue, and they have to decide this, is several years ago they passed a moratorium where we weren't going to do any more guest houses or B&Bs in the R1. So, I mean, I know planning and zoning has approved what you're wanting to do, and I'm in favor of restoring that house. I think it's one of the better pieces of property in town, but I just think everybody has to take that into consideration, because that's what the city voted on, you know. So anyway, I will open the floor up if you all have questions.
But you have to remember that we also rezoned R2, the lot, was it 3rd Street? Both sides to commercial from R2.
The whole street, I understand that. I just wanted that to be out there so people understand that.
Would, Mr. Mayor, I think you got another input from the citizens. Do we want
Well, I
to?
want your guys' input first.
I thought maybe.
I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Yeah, can you explain to me on how, the 6 off-street parking spots?
Yes.
Like, how does that work? Because I've been by there, I don't see 6 spots, but if you could explain.
Oh, sure. So the driveway itself spans from the front of the home all the way back to the front of the carriage house. So we took the length of kind of the average car, the average truck, to be able to go ahead and see what we could fit in that, in the driveway, and it was over 80 feet. And so we would be able to go ahead and put 5 cars in that space. And then the carriage house, from where the garage door would be to where the wall is, there's 21 feet there that we would be able to fit 1 additional vehicle.
I drove down the alley and looked at it. The carriage house, I can see that's probably 1, but I do see that there's probably trees that's gonna have to be cut down. And there's like a 2-foot tall concrete wall.
The retaining wall?
That's all gonna have to probably be pulled out too, so your vehicles be able to pull in. If not, you could have a 4-wheel drive jacked up 6 foot, and you probably still won't jump that curb to get into your
I
car.
think she's saying all the cars are gonna park in the driveway, not the butt.
No, that driveway.
That's what you're saying, correct?
Correct.
No, that driveway's not long enough for 6 vehicles.
So,
So the driveway would be able to accommodate 5 vehicles, and it would be one in the garage.
I don't see that. Yep, input here is, like I said, there's people on here that have called me in opposition, and you got them marked in favor.
Okay.
So that list,
Do you
and it's
recall?
supposed to be property owners with 185 feet, and there's people on here outside of 185 and people that don't own property. So that's one thing we should have had. To me, this kind of, I call it the snowball effect or a domino, is where does it stop? And then I agree with what the mayor said is, we passed an ordinance 3 years ago maybe to prohibit guest houses in R1. They were never allowed in R1. So how that cup got there, I don't know, but that's in the past. But
They were allowed there years ago.
we prohibit them with this new ordinance. And I kind of feel by just going through planning and zoning, and I like what planning and zoning does, but this is just a way to circumvent, to go around our moratorium not allowing them. If we do this for every property, where does it stop? Why don't we get rid of that ordinance and everybody can do what they want to do?
And I do understand your concern. I also think that this home is unique in a sense of it is a larger house than what one residential family would have. Not every, 4-person family is going to be able to afford a home like this once it's fully renovated. And, they're, similar to what the mayor said, there's not a lot of properties in Hermann that kind of have this stature. And so that's why I'm hoping to kind of get your endorsement to be able to rezone, because I really want to be able to go ahead and bring the house back to where it used to be. But at the end of the day, it is also, it's a business decision. If it's something that I'm able to do some type of Airbnb guest house, I know I'll be able to, kind of target more of that luxury feel, and I'm able to put more money into the home itself. If it's something that it doesn't have that capability, then for me, it's basically finishing doing the renovations on the property at a lower level and just selling it and kind of being done with the property. And, I think everyone, here kind of understands business aspect of things. And, if I know there's going to be a return there, then I have no problem putting the money into the property to be able to go ahead and bring it up to, what everyone desires, marble floors, more of that elevated experience. Plus, it also helps generate revenue for the town of Hermann. as far as kind of taxes and whatnot. And it also brings more people into town. And I mean, truly, all I want to do is be able to, you know, work with the city as far as all the different, you know, the building inspector, planning and zoning, you know, aldermen, to be able to go ahead and come up with, you know, a compromise overall with everything to make sure that we're doing a beneficial service for everyone.
First off, I applaud you for buying a home that was built when Abraham Lincoln was president.
Oh, I didn't even think about it that way.
And because I own a building in the downtown district as well, and it's one headache after another, and I completely appreciate what you are doing to your property. However, I would have to be on the side of being very against spot zoning. 6 months ago when we had 3rd Street, led by Mr. Peterson, lead a group of property owners on 3rd Street to change the entire 3rd Street to C1. You have property owners to the interior side of 2nd Street who I know I've spoken to myself as well, kind of like Jim. They are kind of against adding any more commercial property. I think the grand vision would be to yes, have, almost the entire, downtown district be more, commercially focused. But you can't force homeowners who are currently living there to take that change on, tomorrow. So I would be in favor of voting, but I would like to see all your neighbors being on board, as well as changing their property to C1 as well. I'm very hesitant about voting yes for a single property. That's my stance.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
How can this be classified as spot zoning, Dave, when you have commercial on two sides of a property? I thought spot zoning was if you have a residential area, 5 blocks, and you want to put a commercial, one of the lots in the middle of those residentials, that would be spot zoning.
Right.
This property has commercial on 2 sides of it. So it's really
This
not
wouldn't be
spot zoning.
as defined or discussed in cases and statutes and such. This is not spot zoning. And spot zoning is not per se illegal. We're not prohibited even from doing it if we still want to do it. But yeah, that's right.
Anybody else have any? You have any comments? Okay. I have go ahead and sit down if you like for a second, and then anybody in the audience? I know Mr. Held wants to speak.
And if I may, it looks like we have a few lots of R1 that's an island surrounded by sea.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm John Held. I'm a resident and owner of 125 East 2nd Street. And I'm voicing my opposition to the proposed spot zoning of 108 East 2nd from R1 to C1. The first time Karen and I found out about this was last week when the petition was stuck in our door. And not in the mailbox, but in the door when we came home from work. We received no notice of the planning and zoning meeting. I guess I'm admitting I don't get the paper every week, which I apologize for. The petition has several claims that I think are simply untrue and are a stretch of the imagination. First, concerning the zoning history, I've heard people on the street say, well, it was C1. It has never been C1. It had a conditional use permit, allowing it to be utilized for tourist accommodations. Conditional use permits are specific and define the permitted usage. A change to C1 allows it to be used for any legal commercial activity allowed under the C1 classification. Bookstore, tattoo parlor, got an ammo store, which would be my personal choice if I had it, a vape shop, a bar, etc. Changing this property to C1 is not compatible with the surrounding uses. This property is in a group of 12 properties on East 2nd Street that are zoned R1. It is adjacent to R1 according to the 2024 zoning map that's online. The properties on the east, west, and north are all residential. It is only adjacent to C1 on the south. So the property that everyone seems to say is C1 to the west is actually R1 according to your own map. A change to C1 and all the potential types of businesses that can operate in C1 zoning is simply not compatible with the surrounding R1 properties on East 2nd. The points made in the petition for rezoning concerning the investment are simply irrelevant. Anyone can make claims about how much they're going to invest. The fact is that this is a large architectural gem in the town of Hermann. And when you buy an old home like this, you should understand up front that it's going to cost a lot to renovate. We know, we've been shoveling money into an old house for over 20 years. We understand what it costs to do marble floors. We put them in. We have historically accurate baseboard trim. It's about that tall that we had reproduced. It's not cheap. We removed a layer of drywall that was over lath and plaster to achieve the proper window reveal with the trim. Took out the lath and plaster and everything, re-drywalled it. It's a real pain, and it costs money. Also, I had limestone windowsills reproduced to match the originals for a couple of windows. And I can provide anyone with places that will do this work for no charge at all. The old Herzog mansion next to the elementary school is another example of a dedicated restoration done right. I admire authentic restoration, but requiring a change of zoning to justify it is simply wrong. The claim that this property has 6 off-street parking spaces, boy, that's a stretch. If she presented that these are butt-to-butt parking, think about the safety factors there. If that house goes up in flames, everybody's trying to get out to their car and out of there, what's going to happen, Bruce? It's not good. Anyone in the public tourism sector knows you can't park cars back to back in a stack of 5. It's simply not something that you want to do. At the bare minimum, you should require a site plan with detailed dimensional drawings showing how this would be achieved. I've heard that the owner of this property is a nice person, and that was the justification someone gave me for changing the zoning. After hearing you, I can't dispute that, but I really don't know you. But it's irrelevant. You don't change zoning because someone's nice. Nor do you deny me because some people say I'm a fill in the blank. Changes to zoning should be made for the greater good of the community and the ordinances involved. Lastly, I want to remind you of the moratorium that Bruce has already talked about that you passed 2 years ago. This is clearly an attempt to do an end run around that, and you will be setting a precedent. Do you really want to cross that bridge and open the floodgates to everyone trying to rezone to get these guest houses in residential areas? I think that would be very short-sighted on your part. In closing, we oppose this proposed zoning change, and I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Brent Wilkins. I'm a property owner within 185 feet I would say first, what I think is irrelevant for y'all's decision is what one or two individuals in this town say. What you should be thinking about is, what is the best thing for Hermann as a whole? Everybody, the 2,000 plus residents in town. I would like to speak in support of approving this zoning request and encourage the board to view it as part of a long overdue effort to align Hermann's zoning with reality. I think Dave spoke just a minute ago about what the reality is on that street. It's surrounded on 4 sides by commercial zoning. First Street is commercial, Market Street's commercial, Schiller Street's commercial, and 3rd Street's commercial. So this isn't spot zoned, it's actually spot zoned in reverse. We've changed the zoning on this street already. There's an R3 zone property on this building as well. This is more annexation than spot zoning. She touches commercial zoning on 2 sides. There is, right next to her on the other side, there's a non-conforming use being allowed. Both an accessory building being used for lodging and lodging in R1. So it's not a completely residential street. There's an attorney's office there as well. So in the greater scheme, it is in a commercial area. There's been concern raised about precedent and about spot zoning, and as I mentioned, this property is not isolated. It touches the 2 sides of commercial zoning. It's a logical extension of the existing zoning that is currently there. I say this from a direct experience. I followed the proper process for years to have my own street rezoned. In doing so, the city and I wasted a bunch of time, expense, on something that was entirely avoidable. In the end, not only was my zoning changed, but the entire street was changed. So if you did that, what I'm trying to wrap my head around is you made the decision on my street that is the use of that area. But there's now 3 blocks left, if we go east of Market, that are still zoned R1. It makes no sense. If we continue to deny logical zoning changes like the one before you tonight, we'll repeat the same pattern. We'll have stalled investment, uncertainty for property owners, and unnecessary use of public and private resources, only to arrive at the same result later. Market Street East is largely commercial. There are only a few remaining blocks that are not. This condition has existed for years. Many of the same individuals serving on planning and zoning and on this board have had ample time to address this, and yet we are still debating individual parcels instead of setting a clear direction. This is where leadership matters. Clear commercial zoning supports reinvestment, restoration of historic buildings, and easier enforcement. Just as importantly, it allows the city to more clearly protect residential areas. If 10 years ago when I was saying this, and 20 years ago when my father was saying this, if we had changed the zoning to commercial, if we had increased density in that area, which both the DREAM initiative in 2010 and your most recent city plan says you should do, the area where we should do this is right where we're talking about. We can increase density, add lodging availability, and protect the east side of town. My mistake the last time I came before you was all you heard was we need to do investment, we need to add the lodging. Right behind that is protect the residents. You think it's lodging and tourism that's keeping people from living here. It's that you allowed it to be spread throughout the residential areas. And we did have a plan. Conditional use permits had a list of conditions that had to be made, had to be met. Y'all quit forcing those. That's why we got in the spot where we did. There's ways around it. You have a professional sitting right there. We pay him anyway. Decide what is best for Herman. What is best for 2,000 people? Tourism is often blamed for issues that are really planning failures. Thoughtful zoning protects residents, encourages responsible investment, and reduces conflict. Avoiding these decisions does the opposite. I respectfully urge the board to approve this request tonight, not as an exception, but as a necessary step towards correcting a long-standing zoning inconsistency and preventing future waste of time, money, and energy. We know where this ends. The only question is, do we do it now, intentionally and responsibly, or later, after more unnecessary damage? Thank you.
Thank you. I think you have to understand that, like on 2nd Street, the biggest percentage of the people there do not want it to be commercial. That's where they live, you know. You have to take into the consideration people that have their private residences and do not want it to be commercial. Anyway, anybody else have any comments or questions or anything in the public?
On this zoning map here, I'm sorry, can I
Go ahead. You're
On
fine.
this zoning map right here, this is all, we're on 3rd Street, that is all commercial, and this does not show that on this.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that is correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
3rd Street, yes, is all commercial.
So she is up against in all sides but one, then, correct?
Okay. Any other questions from up here or comments? Anybody else?
I would
Okay.
just mention that, this property was functioning under a conditional use permit as a business for years. So if there were ever parking issues or problems with it being functioning as a business, it's identical to what she's doing. So, we don't have any, in their history of conditional use permits, we don't have complaints about parking or noise or anything like that.
Yeah, the only difference was conditional use permit instead of being zoned commercial, basically.
Yeah, and she had, I pulled the minutes from back when it was a conditional use permit, and P&Z and this board approved it with her having 6 off-street parking places.
What was the date on that?
September 21st, 2022.
Okay.
Are there any of these residents from 2nd Street who oppose, I guess, the Hells?
I want
Any
to clarify
others
something.
among these multitude of 2nd Street residents that oppose this?
I am not opposed to conditional use, but I think you should do your homework and demand a parking plan, because there's no way you can safely park 6 vehicles in the current situation there. I have no problem whatsoever with conditional use because the use is defined. Thank you.
Thank you. Good point. Okay. Do we, I need a motion to accept or deny?
I make a motion to accept the change from R1 to 2C1 for lot, what is it, west part of lot 2, East 2nd Street.
I have a motion to accept changing to C1. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Nay.
Nay.
Nay, nay. Put me on the spot, right? Well, yeah, I personally agree with what John Hill just said. Conditional use permit. I am more in favor of that instead of commercial. Because I do believe that if we prove commercial, that we are gonna have big problems down the road with way more people wanting to do the same thing just because they butt up to commercial properties. So I think you know, I'm not against the restoration of the building, I'm not against what they want to do, but I don't believe that commercial is the way to go. So I would, I'm gonna say, I'm not in favor of zoning commercial. But, so that would be a no, but I would be in favor of you applying for conditional use.
She cannot because she's in R1 and there is a moratorium.
Yep.
You cannot apply for conditional use in R1.
That's true.
If she applied for rezoning for R3, R2.
You
There,
can't,
you
it's
can't do
not
it.
allowed in our, you guys,
You can't do
it's
any
only
residential.
commercial now. That's what y'all did.
Yeah, that's right.
If the other R1 residents, if this was a public hearing on turning rest of Second Street, I'd be in favor of that.
I would not be.
And you're also a resident there, and I wouldn't impose that upon you if we had every resident on Second Street all coming in a group and saying we all want our properties rezoned to C1. I'd be in favor of that. One property at a time, I'm just not.
So what's the difference between all of them and just one property?
I guess it would be, it is an annexation, and I did misspeak when I said spot zoning. But it is a clear direction of moving that block, that neighborhood into a certain path. When these people, if they resell, they can, resell as commercial. They can build, remodel towards the aspect of commercial, not just single-family residential. And know
You're
that
very limited on building because it's a historic district, so understand that. There's a very limited use of these properties.
Right.
You're correct. So, you're in favor, right?
Yeah.
Like I say, I would really like to see the building restored. I really have reservations about the commercial. I just, so. I will, my vote will be to deny at this point. So. Okay. Oh, that takes care of that. Okay. That will close the public hearing then. Don't really have anything to report as far as mayor's report, city administrator report.
Okay, sales tax deposit this month, we're running right neck and neck with year-to-date last year. We're just $800 over. We had our street workshop tonight, and we will have the follow-up workshop on March 9th at 6 p.m. To go over the changes that we made tonight and see how that affects the budget and the 5-year plan. Our last airport inspection, they suggested that we would take down, there are some trees around a scour hole out there off the runway, into the runway, and it attracts birds and things, so they wanted us to remove those trees. And so we're having that work done this week by Tri-County. The TAP sidewalk project bid opening last week, as you heard the engineers mention earlier, we had 8 bidders, which was a great response. That gets sent off to MoDOT for a review, and then that should be on your next agenda later this month for formal approval. The street project, that we also just discussed and the wastewater extension project in the industrial park are both out to bid, and we'll have bid openings this Wednesday. As you guys will recall, we have been doing a $1 gas meter fee increase since 2018. The board decides every year when we vote on the budget if we're going to continue to take what was the Utility Advisory Board's suggestion and the board at that time to increase it $1 a year until it gets up to $18.50. So on the bill due March 15th, it'll go from $15.50 to $16.50. That's the gas meter fee. Yeah, this isn't great news, but I think everybody sees it coming. The impact of the winter storm Fern and the impact that it's going to have on gas bills and electric bills over these next 2 billing cycles is going to be pretty significant. And I will forward you an email from Ron Reagan that's very detailed about how it impacted the gas industry because it was so widespread over the nation. And of course, that it impacts electric too because a lot of our generation uses natural gas. So those are going to be hit, and of course the city will get hit extra hard on the electric because we don't change rates monthly, so we will eat a lot of that, and we'll have a number after billing this next cycle. And we just distributed 26-27 budget worksheets to the department managers, and so we're starting on the budget season that rolls around awfully quickly. And just a reminder to announce that March 18th, 7 p.m. is the Meet the Candidate Night at the Showboat hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. And also, if you haven't recently driven by West 6th Street to see how the building is coming up, once they start framing it and it starts looking like a real building, it gets exciting. So we talked to them. We had a conference call with all of our folks and Ed Schmeltz last week, and his schedule is on target still for opening in June. Thank you.
Public Works.
Street department guys, as you guys can imagine, we're pretty covered up with the snow removal from a couple weeks ago. They've been repairing and cleaning up the plow truck since then. Cleaned up some bigger snow piles that were creating traffic issues. With the warm weather this week, they're hoping to start patching some potholes. They're also getting ready to start some make-ready work for the upcoming street paving contract. We had some stuff in that package that we're going to do a little work on our own to make it a little cheaper. They've also been servicing equipment, changing oil and things like that as time allows. The water department got the monthly sampling done. Unfortunately, not much progress on Schiller due to the weather. They're hoping to get back down there next week. This week they've been pretty covered up. Locates on 70 continue to eat up a tremendous amount of time up in that Port Authority area. Lots of locates for different planning and engineering and stuff going on up there. The guys have also been working on the very tail end of the OQ stuff. We're all done with the online qualifications, and all 3 of the gas employees and myself should have all the remaining hands-on completed by Thursday. We have to meet USDI up at Farber at the take point. On the wastewater side, they've been cleaning and inspecting sewers as time allows or as problems arise. Our outflow meter at the lagoon, which monitors how much flow we have daily, has went out. I've been in touch with the vendor and he gave me a couple extra things to troubleshoot, so I plan to look at that tomorrow morning. If the monitor is bad, we're looking at roughly $3,000 for the monitor, and then, I don't know what it takes to install it. If we have to get a professional, obviously installation will be above that. If it's something we can install, then we will. On the electric side, the guys have been replacing the HPS bulbs and the decorative radial wave lights with an LED replacement that we finally found. We've been trying to find an equivalent lumen output light bulb for those lights for years. So they've been running around changing those out. They're working pretty well. They also completed termination at the new Dam Horse property and made some repairs on the street lighting system on Line Street. Parks Department has been working on maintenance to the buildings and under their maintenance. And also working on some pool stuff, trying to get it squared up for this coming season.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Those new bulbs, are they the same ones?
No.
No.
So unfortunately, these bulbs that we're putting in the radial waves are just some cheap Chinese Amazon thing I found. But I've looked through all of our high-end bulb distributors for years, and it's a medium base bulb, so a standard light bulb like what your house uses, but the lumen output through all these other companies is not near enough. So I found this one on Amazon, and we're trying them to see how they work. But I've also already got reports that some of the bulbs that we just changed out, the ones that just came in at the tail end of December, that we just put back in,
They went
are
out.
out again already. So,
And those are the high-end expensive ones.
right, so I mean, I know what the fix is, but I don't have the money
Right.
to do the fix. So, that's just something that I'm afraid we're gonna have to battle for a while until we get to a position where we can buy the right heads. I don't have any other good options for you.
Do you have the aerators in the lagoons, are they all working, or is this
No,
just?
Van Deventer's working on a bid to get that, so we're gonna look into changing that voltage. Like I talked about, going from the 120, 240 to 277, 480, but to do that, we have to change out a lot of the controls in the cabinets, so Van Deventer's working on a bid for me for that, so that we can find out. This time of year, it's not a huge concern. The dissolved oxygen levels stay up really high without them. 3 of them, I think, are working, so we're doing okay on that. Everything's testing good, but it's definitely something we want to start tackling before we get to the summer months.
Any other questions? Thank you for what you do, sir. Thank you. You don't need to do public comment now, right? You still want to talk?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, sir.
I just had a thought. Is it possible, I mean, your moratorium is sweeping across the whole town.
Yes, sir.
Maybe you should consider lifting it from the historic district. Just a thought. Because that's, that is kind of a tourism area. And I mean, I'd love to see that building restored. I have no problem with conditional use because conditional uses define the usage. C1 doesn't.
I agree with that.
And I think most people in town would say that that moratorium was very well intentioned for the key residential areas. Stark subdivision, the whole section below Stonehill over to the elementary school, Stonehill Highway. I mean, these are the kind of areas that we, need to really protect the residents. But the historic different, Brant made some good points. I mean, there would be some merit to that. And that would be a way that could get out of this impasse. And I think
Yes.
most people would be quite happy with it. Just a thought.
Thank you. What would be the procedure to try and do that to just one property for conditional use?
Well, I don't know that
No, he
you want
meant,
to do just one property, or
He
that's
said
what
the
Mr.
Now,
White.
I'm suggesting you lift the moratorium for the historic district, so that, my understanding is then you could provide a conditional use permit within the historic district for tourism, housing.
so what are you gonna do if there's another area, 3 blocks that are all residential that way and they want a
That's
But they
why
wouldn't
I
be in the
said that
historic.
I think the historic district poses a different set of parameters than our areas that are primary, 80-90% residential. It's a different mix.
It also, the historical district does, is on the west side of town from 6th Street, and it kind of zigzags a bit, all the way back up to 2nd. The historical district is quite a large north part of the town. I'm not sure you want to do the entire part, but I know the part that what you're thinking of.
Well, you could define the
Like
area however
first
you
to
want. You
fifth.
could say from First to Fifth and from Schiller to Market, you know, or whatever you guys decide.
Okay, that would, I like that idea. We can discuss it further, and that way we can still accommodate them.
I guarantee you David can figure out a way to make it work.
Okay, we've got a lot more to cover, but I think we should maybe look into that and.
Well, you guys are the decision makers and the voters. I think if you like the concept and you want to discuss and decide on an area where you'd like to propose an ordinance change, like what was suggested, then that would go first to planning and zoning. It'd be just like anybody else's zoning or request. That would go to P and Z first for them to have a hearing there, then it would come back up here for you to pass the ordinance to make that amendment.
Okay. All right. We'll pursue that. Okay. Need to move along. Under public comments, I have the fire chief would like to speak to us.
So, we've talked to Jesse about this before. Oh, sorry, I'm Kevin Speckhouse, fire chief. We've talked to Jesse about this before in the past, and just over the last few months, we received some 5-inch hose from a neighboring department, free. It's 3 years old. They were getting rid of it, relatively brand new. Some of us never even seen a fire. We want to go to a 5-inch large diameter hose on our fire trucks to be able to flow high capacity. You all seen on First Street, that's what we had to do to supply their Washington's ladder truck. Long range, this is for the long range. I know there's a lot of hydrants in the city that will not accommodate this. We're going to keep some old hose and go with some LDH hose. This is primarily in the city. That's why I come here asking for money. This would benefit more the city than anybody. So we are asking if the city would consider buying the fittings to hook these to our trucks. So I have one estimate here. This is just a starting point for us. If you guys want to take a look at
I
them.
think I have it.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
it.
Is it the 5,380?
Yeah. That's just a one estimate. I mean, we'll get more estimates if we have to. This is just a company that we normally use for all of our stuff. So,
I think y'all need to understand that this hose diameter that he's talking about would only be applicable to the city of Hermann. When
Right.
you get out in the rural area, we can't use anything like that because we won't have the water supply.
right.
So it's a benefit for the city, not just the fire department. So, you know, we.
Right now, you can ask Jesse, most of the, all the new ones they're replacing at this point will have this larger diameter hose on them, not this, but we will be able to connect to that for this fitting. Pretty much primarily all the downtown area has this hose adapter, the steamer fitting on it already right now. So,
as they replace hydrants, the fitting should be comparable to
right,
fit with
this
that.
big aluminum part right here is what this.
And you would have those on each one of the trucks for,
There's different varieties of them. So that would, males, females, to attach to the truck. This basically would go to the truck, other than it would be bigger. And then this is just interchangeable as far as different sizes. It can go either direction. So,
For flowing large volumes of water, basically.
It's also more efficient. It takes less time to hook up. So in the event of an actual emergency,
kind of like a quick
quicker
change.
it's more work on the fire department in the back end because it's heavier.
a lot heavier hose, but
But
it's worth it in the long run.
So you're gonna get more bids than this one, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, if they're not gonna, if the city's not willing to do it, then I'm not gonna go out and get bids.
Well, money is tight, I do know that, so I don't know, you know.
Well, I'd make a motion that you consider maybe get one or two more bids, see how they run, because I would be more than interested to approve the purchase of
Pretty much, they're all gonna be about the same, but probably within a couple $100 up or down, so. Not saying that I won't do that, but I'm just telling you, they're pretty standard.
As someone who's witnessed firsthand, I've told you this in person, I think the city, this would be a wise investment considering that the hose that you got donated, this is
About $80,000 worth of hose.
This is like a six-figure
Yeah.
upgrade for the Hermann Fire Department, for a $5,000 investment on our part.
So you making that an motion to support this then?
Can we just move forward with this and just,
I mean, I'd like to see if we could trim a little bit off of it. I mean, let's
I'll
not
get
go
the
with
bids.
the, let's not
I mean,
go
that's
with,
fine, I'll get the bids.
let's not go with the first bid, but
You get some bids and bring it back to us and then.
Okay, is this something we need to come back to a meeting to, or is this something we need to just go with Trish?
I mean, if it's just gonna be a difference of a few $100s here and there, can you make the approval now and then we'll go with the low bid?
yeah.
There you go.
I will turn my statement into a motion that we should move forward with,
For the low bid.
pursuing his adapters, with the low bid.
Thank you very much.
May I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. There you go. Okay, we'll move on to ordinances.
All right, the first on the agenda for you this evening, the first reading is bill number 2026-05, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2461 regarding the budget for fiscal year 2025-2026.
So this is what you're accustomed to seeing every year. We do this semi-annually. This is the shorter list, just to clean up a few things that have popped up thus far in the year.
Very good. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve bill number 2026-05.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Need to read that a second time, please?
Bill number 2026-05, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2461 regarding the budget for fiscal year 2025-2026.
I have a motion for second reading.
I'll make a motion, bill number 2026-05, second read.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Resolution.
And the resolution for this evening is 1358, a resolution to describe facts and reasons for a necessary amendment to the city's budget for fiscal year 2025-2026. Just here as a formality, there's a line in the statute that says whenever you do a budget amendment by ordinance, you should also do a resolution like this one.
I have a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve resolution 1358.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Move on to motions. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Invoice for payment.
Move we pay the bills.
Motion's made to pay the bills. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Promote Jason Persner to the gas and water wastewater foreman position.
So you have a recommendation letter in your binder from his supervisor, Jesse, and he also has my full support as well.
Right.
Is there an increase in salary that he's going to be
Yes.
received?
Yes, up to the pay scale threshold.
And he's got
The
all
top one, the highest one?
Yes.
the certifications.
Mm-hmm. Yep, like Jesse just said, they're all getting their final gas certification Thursday.
The last ones we have to do were up in Farber on Thursday. But he's already passed all the online qualifications. It's just a hands-on portion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Hire Craig Dorr as gas, water, wastewater technician. A motion to approve Craig.
Motion to approve.
Motion's made. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Motion to authorize the city administrator to sign unanimous consent to participate in the Panhandle court case to oppose a rate increase.
You want me to? I don't know if you recall or not, but it's been about 4 years ago now where Panhandle tried increasing our rates and our other cities' rates by 400%. That went into a lawsuit with FERC, and because it was through the federal government, that was all considered confidential, and we were only allowed to talk about it in closed session. Unlike this lawsuit, is what they're calling a public appeal, so we can talk about it openly. But Panhandle's coming back, and now they're saying that they want what is called an addit. They want the accumulated depreciation, interest, and taxes on their rate reverting back to 2019. So that would be like a 7.7% interest rate. So Ron Reagan, our consultant, said this is a no-brainer. He said we should not pay them one more penny. He is very adamant that we go back after them because we won last time, and we got that reimbursement. And so there will be an attorney fee. It's thought through an attorney with this gas group, Dave Pitney, I think. And he's estimating the most it could be is $50,000 to $100,000, and that would be divided across 20+ member cities that would be in this suit. So we're looking at maybe $5,000 over the course of probably a couple of
Or
years.
maybe even 20 member groups, and our commission is one member, right? So that would be divided even further.
Yes, between our commission member
Right.
cities, that's right.
So our 1/20th would get divided, not necessarily equally by 5, but pro-rata depending on the volume of
Yes,
usage.
yes.
So it would be not very expensive, and I think the right thing to do.
Yes, so Ron wants us to, if you guys agree, to get this resolution signed and off to him. The deadline is the 14th.
Does this affect anything moving forward, like perhaps another instance like this? Does this limit us legally?
No. In terms of what?
In terms of some sort of public violation that could, with something ongoing, not in specific to this particular case.
If it's something ongoing, not specific or not covered by this individual case, we would have the right to pursue it. If it involves the same facts or the same issues that are in this particular case, then it would be precluded from being tried again in another court or in a separate case by us on our own. And I think that what makes this wise to proceed is we don't have to be on our own. We're sharing the cost of fees and costs with all these other groups and all these other cities. And it's, I think it's a good, frankly, it's a good, because we talked about, well, should this be enclosed or should it not? And I thought not, because it's a sign that you're protecting your gas ratepayer citizens, from these charges that Panhandle's trying to impose on them.
This is just a statement, right, of unanimous consent?
Yes.
It's not really a resolution, right?
Right. And
You're
that would,
correct, thank you.
the motion would actually be to authorize Tricia to sign the statement of unanimous
Right.
consent on behalf of the city of Hermann. And the other cities will do something similar. They're represented.
Okay, so move, I move that Trish signs the statement.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We have no reports. Do I have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? We need to go into closed session.
So whoever makes that motion, will you please also read into the motion, the one that I posted today, the time-sensitive one that we didn't have time to post with the agenda?
We should have done.
Okay.
Why would we have adjourned and then go into closed?
I just was following the thing here, the adjourn, anyway. We're going into closed session.
Notice is hereby given, subject to a motion duly made and adopted, the Board of Aldermen may hold a closed meeting for the purpose of dealing with matters relating to negotiations for a contract pursuant to section 610.021, section 12, and section 610.021, section 3, revised statutes of Missouri.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Don't we have to include the personnel
That's what I
issue
just
is not?
said.
He
I said to
did,
read that into the motion.
he did, but he didn't say it came, it was not on the agenda. It wasn't posted 3 days.
I read the contract pursuant contract portion, not also the matters related to hiring, firing, discipline, and promoting employees.
But the personnel issue just came to head
Yes.
today.
So we're gonna
and
say,
And it needs to be addressed this
Kelsey's
evening.
gonna put in the minutes
Okay.
that it was a time-sensitive issue and did not get posted, but we're using the emergency clause.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
just want to cover someone's,
Do I have a second?
Yes, for sure.
I'll second.
Second. And then we have to have a roll call.
yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are in closed session.